Greetings and salutations, this is Imperator Vespasian and his trusty sidekick.
Hello.
This in front of you is a 37mm anti-tank gun as produced by Germany during the Second World War. This was Germany's primary anti-tank gun at the outbreak of war, the 37mm gun. It very quickly fell out of favour because as the war went on, the types of tanks that the Germans were encountering, the anti-tank gun was no use for it. So they quickly upgunned to the 50mm anti-tank gun, although these guys did still hang around for quite a while. They even did a version which could fire a anti-tank rocket off the end. You used to stick it on the end and fire it off. It was a good anti-tank gun, more or less designed in the First World War. It was Germany's primary anti-tank gun. And it was used by the Finns to great effect because they were fighting things like T-26s, which you could kill with one of these. They could also take on the heavy tanks. So what they would do is the Russians had to attack the Finns with the huge tanks that they had, not the T-26s, the little light tanks, the big heavy tanks, the big heavy infantry tanks. They would put these guns facing upwards in a trench, and they would let the Russians drive over the trench because the tactics the Russians used. They would drive onto the trench and then turn around on top of the trench and crush everyone inside. And they'd wait for it to drive over the trench, and then they'd fire the anti-tank gun directly into the tank from underneath, which would kill everyone on board and not actually damage the tank, enabling the Finns to capture the tank intact.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Something the Russians weren't expecting, and something you cannot do in bolt action rule system. You can't do that. You have to. You could theoretically it would be like a flank attack, so the armour would get a -1, possibly a -2, but all the same you probably wouldn't be able to kill it. But that is what the Finns did. Yeah, the Germans nicknamed it the door knocker because they would fire at things like KV-1s all day long and wouldn't do any damage to it. It's like knocking on a door. In reality, the Germans would only use something like a 37mm gun against a heavy tank if they desperately needed to and they had no choice. They would usually bring up something heavier to do the job, or phone a plane. Just call your local air force in to deal with it. The Finns, not really good at calling their own air force. Their own air force tended to just operate on their own. They didn't have much ground communication, so they were stuck with using an anti-tank gun against the Russian aircraft, against the Russian tanks. The model is scratch built, which you could probably tell. The crew are actually out of the German Blitzkrieg box set with a little bit of messing around. I've added a nice little winter coat to this guy, and I'll put it that way. Just like that, and it turned out quite well. It's a nice model, but for some reason my camera will not focus on it whatsoever. It hates it. No, absolutely incapable of focusing. Oh, did it? So that's what it looks like. 3 crew and an anti-tank gun. So questions? He stares blankly at me.
No questions for this.
Why? It's an interesting thing.
It's just how it's in it.
No, it's an anti-tank gun.
Yeah.
Have you been paying attention to the entire video, or are you just going to sleep?
A tank gun is basically, for this kind of gun, it's basically as effective as a howitzer.
Yes. No, you're talking about the anti-tank rifle, aren't you? You are talking, because the anti-tank rifle in bolt action has the same penetration as a howitzer. It's +2. This has got +4. So in early war, this will kill most things in existence, apart from your big Russian heavy tanks.
Right.
Because your big Russian heavy tanks like your KV, you're in trouble with. And how do you take them out? How do the Finns take them out?
They wait 2 days.
Yeah, they also did that. Yeah, they did that once. So how did they take them out with this gun? Have you been paying attention to the beginning of the video?
they put the guns in a trench, right?
Yeah.
Which is under, and then whenever the Russian tanks went over it, they shot it under the tank, killing everyone on board but leaving the tank intact. Ha!
Yeah, and what I don't get about that is what if you put your gun like that ready to fire, and the tank comes over 6 feet to the left? Do you feel like an idiot or what?
No.
Because you can't shoot the tank then, because I would assume they would manoeuvre it into position. I'm not sure how they would do it, but the Finns managed to beat the Russians with really, really rubbish anti-tank guns.
Yeah, you have no armour under your tank.
Exactly. Well, you have a very small amount of armour which deals with anti-tank mines. All anti-tank mines do, they don't kill tanks.
Derail.
They detrack it. That is all an anti-tank mine does. They're not like mines in modern times which will blow an armoured car on its side, which is why modern armoured cars have got a V-shaped hull, so it makes the blast go different ways. But back then, all anti-tank mines were to do is to take the track off of a tank. That's it. And once you detract a tank, then your anti-tank guns can shoot it without it being able to move, and your infantry can assault the tank, burn it to death the crew, or put a smoke bomb in it, or do whatever you do to take a tank out.
Yep.
Except in bolt action, where you have to roll one dice per. Never mind. Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was an interesting model to put together. If I show you the underside of it, you can see the underside of the model. It's just made entirely out of bits of, actually, spears and stuff like that, spear shafts, plastic spear shafts and stuff, and eventually put it together. So it worked out in the end.
Yeah.
Right, so outro.
So if you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe, and comment down below what you think of the
37mm.
37mm tank gun.
Yeah.
That's it from me.
And everything from him. Goodbye.
See ya.